The Mockery, the story opens in the neutral space station Haven's Rest, a trading hub where multiple alien species gather. Captain Jake Williams sits alone at a corner table in the cantina, nursing a drink while his small Earth vessel, Defiant, undergoes routine maintenance. The ship is compact, barely 200 meters long, with a simple gray hull that looks outdated compared to the sleek alien vessels docked nearby Dot at the bar. A group of alien military officers from the Vorthan Empire laugh loudly. Commander Krex, tall reptilian with scaled skin, points toward Jake's table. Look at the human and his pathetic ship, he hisses to his companions. Earth sends one tiny vessel to represent their entire species in this sector. The other aliens join in the mockery. Captain Thol, a massive insectoid warrior, clicks his mandibles in amusement. I have seen cargo haulers larger than that Earthship. What do they expect to accomplish with such a toy? Jake remains calm, used to such treatment. Earth is still new to the galactic community, having only made contact 5 years ago. Most species view humans as primitive, having barely mastered faster than light travel. The Defiant carries no visible weapons, no intimidating armor plating, and no signs of advanced technology that other races display. A young alien server. Nyx from the peaceful Kellen species approaches Jake's table nervously. Captain Williams. Perhaps you should leave before they cause trouble, she whispers. The Vorthans are known for their aggression. Jake shakes his head gently. I'm not looking for a fight, but I won't run either. The mockery grows louder as more aliens gather around Krex's group. They compare the Defiant to their own massive warships, vessels stretching over 1 kilometer long, bristling with plasma. Cannons and particle beam arrays. The Vorthan's flagship Destruction's Edge alone carries enough firepower to level a small moon. The humans must be desperate, Krex announces to the growing crowd. Sending such a pitiful excuse for a starship into disputed territory. I wonder if it even has shields. The aliens roar with laughter. Some pull up holographic displays showing their own vessel's specifications. Massive energy outputs. Crews in the thousands, weapon systems that could crack planets. In comparison, Earth's ship appears laughably inadequate. Jake finishes his drink and stands to leave, but Krex blocks his path. Tell me, human, what exactly is your little ship supposed to do? Deliver messages? Carry supplies? Surely you don't expect to patrol this sector with that antique. The Defiant serves its purpose, Jake replies quietly, his voice steady despite the crowd's hostile tension. And what purpose is that? Thol interjects, his compound eyes gleaming with malicious amusement. Entertainment? We could use target practice. The tension in the cantina thickens as more alien military personnel arrive, drawn by the commotion. Representatives from a dozen different species observe the confrontation, some amused, others uncomfortable with the blatant aggression toward the lone human. Nyx tries to defuse the situation. Perhaps everyone should return to their drinks. There's no need for conflict, but Krex ignores her, stepping closer to Jake. I think the human should demonstrate his ship's capabilities. Show us what Earth's finest vessel can do against real warships. Jake's jaw tightens slightly, but he maintains his composure. I don't want any trouble, Commander. I'm just passing through. Trouble? Krex laughs harshly. There would be no trouble. Your ship would be destroyed so quickly you wouldn't even have time to send a distress signal. The crowd murmurs with anticipation. Many of these aliens have never seen Earth technology in action, and the opportunity to witness what they assume will be a one-sided demonstration appeals to their predatory instincts. 20 ships, Thol announces suddenly. The first command a squadron of 20 heavy cruisers. Each one outguns your entire vessel by a factor of 10. Would you dare face such odds? Human? Jake looks around the cantina, seeing the expectant faces of dozens of aliens. Some show cruel anticipation, others seem genuinely curious about human capabilities. A few appear sympathetic but remain silent. I didn't come here to fight, Jake says finally. But if you insist on making this personal, I won't back down. The cantina erupts in excited chatter. Bets are placed on how quickly the human ship will be destroyed. Most give it less than 10 seconds against a full squadron. Vorthan warships. Krex's eyes narrow with satisfaction. Excellent. We launch in 1 hour. Let's see what Earth's pathetic excuse for a starship can actually do. As Jake walks toward the docking bay, Nix catches up to him. Captain, you don't have to do this. Everyone knows the outcome. Jake pauses. At the airlock to his ship, do they? He asks with a slight smile. I guess we'll find out. The Defiant's engines begin their startup sequence as alien crews rush to their own vessels, eager to witness what they believe will be the shortest space battle in recent history. Asterisk, the ambush 2 hours later. In the empty space beyond Havens. Rest, 20 massive Vorthan warships form a perfect attack formation. Each vessel stretches over 800 meters, their hulls bristling with weapon emplacements that glow with barely contained energy. The squadron represents enough firepower to devastate entire planetary defense fleets. Commander Krex stands on the bridge of his flagship Destruction's Edge, watching the tactical display with smug satisfaction. His officers report ready status across all ships, shields at maximum, weapons charged, targeting systems locked onto the tiny Earth vessel that hangs motionless in space like a metal grain against the star field. I almost feel sorry for the human, Lieutenant Vash comments from the weapons station. He probably doesn't even understand what he's facing. Captain Thol's voice crackles over the communication system from his own cruiser. Perhaps we should offer him one final chance to surrender. It seems cruel to destroy him without warning. Krex considers this briefly, then activates the general communication channel. Human vessel, this is Commander Krex of the Vorthan Imperial Navy. You are completely outgunned and outmatched. Surrender now, and we will allow you to return to your home system in shame rather than atoms. Jake's voice responds calmly from the Defiant. Thank you for the offer, Commander, but I'll have to decline. The alien crews across the squadron exchange glances of disbelief. Even facing impossible odds, the human refuses to yield. Some interpret this as admirable courage, others as simple stupidity. Very well, Krex replies. You have chosen your fate. All ships, prepare to fire on my command. Let's end this quickly. The Vorthan vessels adjust their positions, creating overlapping fields of fire that would prevent any escape. Their massive plasma cannons swivel toward the Defiant, energy readings climbing as weapons reach full charge. Shield generators hum with power, preparing for any desperate counterattack the human might attempt. On the observation deck of Haven's Rest, dozens of aliens gather to watch the spectacle through the station's powerful telescopes. Bets continue to change hands, with most wagering on whether the human ship will survive longer than 5 seconds. The general consensus remains that Earth's representative has signed his own death warrant. Nick stands among the observers, her hands pressed against the viewport. This is wrong, she whispers to herself. No one deserves to die for pride. Back in the combat zone, Krex raises his hand to signal the attack. All ships target the human vessel. Fire when ready. 20 warships unleash devastating volleys. Simultaneously, brilliant streams of plasma and particle beams lance through space, converging on the Defiant's position. The combined energy discharge lights up the area like a miniature star, overwhelming sensors with its intensity. The aliens cheer as their weapons strike home, expecting to see nothing but expanding debris where the Earth ship once floated. But as the energy dissipates and sensors clear, gasps of shock replace the celebratory roars. The Defiant remains completely intact, surrounded by a shimmering barrier that absorbed the entire attack without apparent strain. Not a single scorch. Mark appears on its hull. Impossible. Vash breathes, staring at his readouts. Our sensors show the ship took 0 damage. How can that be? Krex's confidence wavers for the first time. All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel. Maximum power. The second barrage proves even more intense than the first. Every weapon in the squadron fires at once, creating a maelstrom of destructive energy that should vaporize anything smaller than a battle station. The space around the Defiant becomes an inferno of unleashed power. Yet again, the human ship emerges unharmed. Jake's voice cuts through the alien's growing panic. My turn. The Defiant begins to move, not with the slow deliberation of most starships, but with impossible speed and agility. It weaves between the Vorthan vessels like a fighter craft, though it maintains its compact cruiser configuration. The aliens struggle to track its movements as it dances through their formation. All ships, adjust targeting. Don't let it escape. Krex orders, but his voice carries a note of fear that wasn't there before. The human ship comes to a sudden stop, directly in the center of the Vorthan formation. For a moment, everything is silent except for the hum of alien engines and the nervous chatter of crews trying to understand what they're witnessing. Then the Defiant begins to change. Asterisk. Sections of its hull slide apart to reveal systems unlike anything in the galactic database. Strange geometric patterns appear along its surface, glowing with an energy signature that makes alien sensors scream warnings about unknown physics. What is that thing? Toll demands over the communication channel. Jake's response chills every alien within hearing range. This is what happens when a species spends 5 years reverse engineering every piece of technology they can get their hands, and then improves upon it. The Defiant powers up weapons that shouldn't exist. The revelation in the command center of Haven's Rest. Station Administrator Korvac watches the unfolding battle with growing alarm. The massive Thanari has witnessed countless conflicts in his decades of service, but nothing like this. His thick fingers dance across control panels as he tries to make sense of the sensor readings. Sir, his communications officer reports nervously. We're receiving emergency broadcasts from the Vorthan squadron. They're requesting immediate assistance. Korvac's 4 eyes narrow as he studies the tactical display. 20 of the galaxies. Most advanced warships surround a single Earth vessel, yet somehow the humans have gained the upper hand. What exactly are they requesting assistance with? Before anyone can answer, the Defiant demonstrates its capabilities. The human ship's mysterious weapon systems activate with a sound like reality tearing. Instead of the familiar plasma bolts or particle beams that dominate galactic warfare, something entirely different emerges from the Earth vessel. Streams of what appear to be liquid darkness lance out toward the nearest Vorthan cruiser. The alien warship's shields flare brilliantly as they attempt to deflect the attack, but the dark energy passes through the defensive barriers as if they don't exist. Where the streams touch the cruiser's hull, the metal simply ceases to exist, not melted, not vaporized, but gone as if it never was. Shields are useless. Lieutenant Vash screams from his station aboard Destruction's Edge. The human weapons ignore our defenses completely. Commander Krex stares in horror as the targeted cruiser develops massive holes in its hull. Atmosphere vents into space as the ship's structural integrity fails. Within seconds, the 800-meter warship breaks apart and dies. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Krex orders, but the human vessel moves faster than should be possible. The Defiant appears beside another Vorthan cruiser before the aliens can react, its strange weapons carving the warship into pieces with surgical precision. On Haven's Rest, the observers watch in stunned silence as 2 of the galaxy's most feared warships are destroyed in less than 30 seconds. The betting has stopped entirely. No one predicted this outcome. How is this possible? Nyx whispers, her voice barely audible above the shocked murmurs of the crowd. An elderly Kondorian scientist. Professor Vel pushes through the crowd to reach the main viewing port. His ancient eyes study the battle with professional fascination. Rather than horror, the humans have done something unprecedented, he says quietly. They've weaponized dimensional manipulation. The explanation sends ripples of fear through the gathered aliens. Dimensional technology exists in theory, but no species has successfully harnessed it for practical use. The mathematics alone require computational power beyond most civilizations' capabilities. Drop back in the combat zone. Jake's voice echoes across all communication channels. I tried to avoid this, but you insisted on a demonstration. Earth doesn't build ships for show. We build them to protect our interests. The Defiant continues its deadly dance through the Vorthen formation. Its weapon systems operate with terrifying efficiency, each shot calculated to cause maximum damage with minimal energy expenditure. The human ship doesn't waste motion or power. Every action serves a purpose. A third Vorthen cruiser dies as the dimensional weapons tear through its engine section. The ship's reactor containment fails, creating a brief star that illuminates the faces of the surviving alien crews. For the first time in their military careers, the Vorthens experience genuine terror. This is impossible. Captain Gull broadcasts on an open channel. How can one small ship destroy an entire squadron? Jake's response carries no emotion, only cold fact. Because while you were conquering weaker species and celebrating your superiority, humanity was learning. Every technology you've ever developed, we've studied, understood, and improved upon. Every weakness in your designs, we've cataloged and exploited. The human ship pauses its assault, hanging motionless among the wreckage of 3 Vorthen warships. The surviving 17 vessels maintain their distance, unwilling to close with an enemy that treats their most powerful weapons as minor inconveniences. Professor Bell continues his analysis for the benefit of the station observers. Look at the human ship's energy signature. It's not using more power than a standard cruiser. It's using power more efficiently. Every system is perfectly integrated. Every component optimized beyond anything we've achieved. Commander Krex's voice trembles as he attempts to maintain. Command authority, human vessel, you've made your point. We acknowledge your ... capabilities. Perhaps we can discuss terms. Jake's laughter echoes across the communication channels, but it contains no warmth. Now you want to negotiate? After mocking Earth's pathetic ship, after threatening to use us for target practice, the Defiant begins moving again, and every alien crew member watches their sensors with growing dread. The human ship's weapons? Systems remain active, promising swift death to any vessel that doesn't meet with its approval. I think, Jake continues, his voice deadly calm, that Earth deserves a proper demonstration of respect. The demonstration, the remaining 17, Vorthen warships attempt to reorganize their formation, but their movements lack the confidence they displayed earlier. Commander Krex studies his tactical display with growing desperation, trying to find some weakness in the human vessel that his forces might exploit. Sir, his tactical officer reports with barely controlled panic. The human ship's energy signature is unlike anything in our database. Our computers can't even classify most of their systems. Krex's scaled hands grip his command chair as he watches the Defiant maneuver through the debris field of destroyed warships. The human vessel moves with an almost casual grace, as if the surrounding alien fleet poses no threat whatsoever. All ships maintain defensive positions, Krex orders. Do not engage unless fired upon. The irony isn't lost on him. Minutes ago, he commanded a force capable of conquering small systems. Yet, now he's ordering his ships to avoid confrontation with a single Earth cruiser. Jake's voice cuts through. The tense silence. I want you to understand something, Commander. What you've seen so far isn't Earth's most advanced technology. The Defiant is 5 years old, practically ancient by our current standards. This revelation sends shockwaves through the alien crews. If this devastating vessel represents outdated human technology, what capabilities might Earth's newest ships possess? On Haven's Rest, Professor Vell continues his analysis for the fascinated crowd of observers. The implications are staggering, he explains to anyone within hearing range. If the humans have made such advances in just 5 years of contact with galactic civilization, their rate of technological development exceeds anything we've ever documented. Station Administrator Korvac activates the emergency communication system, broadcasting to all vessels in the area. This is Haven's Rest Control. All ships are advised to maintain safe distances from the current conflict zone. We are witnessing an unprecedented demonstration of unknown technology. The Defiant suddenly accelerates toward the center of the Vorthen formation, moving so fast. that most sensors lose track of it entirely. It appears directly between two heavy cruisers, close enough that the alien crews can see individual details of its hull through their viewports. Both fourth and captains hesitate, unwilling to fire while their target sits between friendly vessels. The human ship exploits this hesitation, activating what appears to be a new weapon system entirely, instead of the dimensional cutting beams used earlier. The Defiant projects a field of energy that encompasses both alien cruisers. The Vorthen ship systems begin failing one by one, weapons offline, shields down, engines dead. Within seconds, two of the galaxy's most advanced warships become helpless hulks floating in space. Systems disruption field. Professor Vel breathes in amazement. They're selectively disabling enemy vessels without destroying them. The level of control required for such precision is extraordinary. Jake's voice explains the demonstration. Earth prefers to avoid unnecessary casualties when possible. But make no mistake, we can destroy you as easily as disable you. To prove his point, the Defiant targets one of the disabled cruisers with its dimensional weapons. The alien ship simply ceases to exist, leaving behind only empty space and the horrified screams of the surviving crew's sister ship. Commander, Krex realizes that continued resistance is not just futile, it's suicidal. His remaining ships face an enemy that can disable them at will, then choose whether to let them live or die. The psychological impact proved more devastating than any weapon. Human vessel, Krex broadcasts, his voice devoid of its earlier arrogance. We doubt we surrender. We acknowledge Earth's technological superiority and request permission to withdraw. The Defiant hovers motionless for several long moments while Jake considers the request. The alien crews hold their breath, knowing their lives hang in the balance of one human's decision. Permission granted. Jake finally responds. But first, I want you to send a message to your Imperial Command. Tell them exactly what happened here today. Tell them that Earth is not to be underestimated or threatened again. Relief floods through the surviving Vorthen ships as they begin powering down weapons and adjusting course for departure. But Jake isn't finished with his demonstration. One more thing, Commander. I want you to understand the difference between Earth and the other species you've encountered. We don't conquer for the sake of expansion or dominance. We explore. We learn and we protect ourselves. But when threatened, we respond with overwhelming force. The Defiant performs a maneuver that should be impossible for any ship its size, a complete loop at full speed while maintaining perfect structural integrity. The display of advanced propulsion technology serves as a final reminder of human capabilities. Now go, Jake commands. And remember what you've learned here. The surviving Vorthen warships begin their withdrawal, moving with the careful precision of crews who know they've escaped certain death through their enemy's mercy rather than their own skill. But the demonstration isn't over yet. The message. As the battered Vorthen squadron limps away from the battle zone, Commander Krex sits in stunned silence on his bridge. The tactical display shows the debris field where 4 of his ships once existed, while 2 more drift powerless through space, their crews rescued by the remaining vessels. Sir, his communications officer reports quietly. Imperial Command is requesting a full battle report. Krex closes his eyes, dreading the conversation he must have with his superiors. How does one explain losing an entire squadron to a single enemy vessel? How does one describe weapons that ignore shields and technology that defies understanding? Meanwhile, the Defiant maintains its position among the wreckage, its hull unmarked despite facing the combined firepower of 20 advanced warships. Jake stands on his compact bridge, watching the alien ships disappear into hyperspace. Captain, his AI companion Arya speaks through the ship's communication system. I'm detecting multiple vessels approaching from various vectors. It appears word of the engagement has spread. Jake nods, having expected this development. How? Many ships and what species? 17 vessels from 9 different civilizations. They're maintaining respectful distances, but their sensor sweeps indicate significant interest in our capabilities. On Haven's Rest, the observation deck has become crowded beyond capacity as representatives from dozens of species gather to witness the aftermath. The betting pools have been replaced by serious discussions about the implications of Earth's demonstrated technology. Professor Vell addresses a growing audience of scientists and military officers. We must reconsider everything we thought we knew about human capabilities. This isn't simply advanced technology. It's a fundamental shift in how warfare itself is conducted. Station Administrator Kordak issues a general broadcast to all ships in the system. This is Haven's Rest Control. We are declaring this area a neutral zone pending diplomatic discussions. All vessels are required to maintain peaceful intentions while in this system. The Defiant begins broadcasting on all frequencies, ensuring Jake's message reaches every listening ship in the sector. To all species monitoring this transmission, I am Captain Jake Williams of the Earth vessel Defiant. Today's demonstration was not intended as a threat to peaceful civilizations, but as a warning to those who would underestimate or threaten humanity. The communication continues, carrying across space to reach dozens of different alien species. Earth seeks peaceful cooperation with all sentient life. We offer trade, knowledge exchange, and mutual defense agreements to any civilization willing to engage in honest diplomacy. But we will not tolerate aggression or mockery of our peaceful intentions. Aboard a Kellen exploration vessel, Captain Mira discusses the implications with her crew. The humans have changed the balance of power in this entire sector. Every military force will need to reconsider their strategic planning. Jake's broadcast reaches its conclusion. The Defiant will remain in this system for 72 hours to meet with any representatives who wish to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth. We look forward to building a peaceful future together. As the transmission ends, the approaching alien vessels begin signaling their intentions. Rather than aggressive postures, they request permission to approach for diplomatic discussions. The tone of interspecies relations has shifted dramatically in the span of a few hours. Nix, the young Kellen server from the cantina, watches from the station's observation deck as ship after ship arrives to meet with the human captain. They mocked his small vessel, she says to herself, but now they compete for his attention. Over the following hours, Jake holds meetings with representatives from multiple species. Each discussion centers on the same themes: trade agreements, technology sharing, and mutual defense pacts. The humans' demonstration of power has earned them respect, but their restraint in using that power has earned them trust. Professor Vell compiles his initial report on the engagement. The human vessel demonstrated at least 4 distinct advanced technologies: dimensional manipulation weapons, selective systems disruption, enhanced propulsion, and defensive barriers that render conventional weapons ineffective. The strategic implications suggest that Earth has become a major power in galactic affairs. 3 days later, as the Defiant prepares to depart Haven's Rest, Jake reflects on the mission's outcome. What began as a routine patrol has become a defining moment in human-alien relations. Earth's small ship has delivered a message that will echo across the galaxy. The final transmission from the Defiant carries a simple but powerful statement. Earth remembers its friends and forgives its enemies, but we never forget those who threaten our people. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to prosper together. As the human ship engages its faster-than-light drive and disappears into the void, the aliens left behind understand that everything has changed. The species they once mocked has become the most influential power in the sector, not through conquest or intimidation, but through the demonstration of overwhelming capability tempered by wisdom and restraint. The galaxy will never underestimate Earth's tiny ships again. Asterisk.